But it was like, what platform is teaching you how to stay in this relationship? Like, what platform is teaching you how to communicate properly? Like, where are those platforms? So I went out and I sought a lot of psychologists, therapists, life coaches, relationship coaches, and I asked them, like, would you guys be interested in joining this platform and having kind of a pool of people who can tap into you at any given moment, like an Uber for relationship advice, basically, like an on-demand platform where you can get advice. And they were like, yeah, let's sign up. So I did a prototype testing phase, and what I learned was a lot of people wanted advice beyond just basic relationships, right? People wanted to know, like, you know, financial advice. People wanted personal development, personal growth. Like, how do you meditate? Like, how do I eat well? How do I stay healthy? Which to me is weird because I feel like all this stuff should have been taught in school. Like,
right.
Why the heck was I learning trigonometry that I have never used?
Right, right.
Like, what are the things that are tangible to life, right?
Yes.
And so that's eventually what the platform ended up being.
Wow. So now you are, I guess, you have a reality show as well.
Yeah, so I was on a show that got picked up once they found out about Draper University, and they were like, whoa, what is this? Because it's really an orthodox way of learning. So the way that Tim kind of presents entrepreneurship is very much like survival, right? Like, there was a week where we were basically dropped off in the woods, and he was like, all right, good luck.
What was that like? Crazy, I'm sure.
It was interesting. It was really interesting because I'm not the campy type, and this was beyond camp. Like, this was like, yo, here is a compass. Like, get your way back to, like, land. Like, oh, wow, okay, that's different. And so his theory behind that is basically, we want to know if you're tested, if you're pushed to the brink, because entrepreneurship, what people don't understand is it's cute to, like, have an idea, but the execution of that idea is so much more difficult. And you're going to have all kinds of peaks and valleys, and there's things that are going to hit you left and right. And he just wants to know, are you prepared for that? Like, are you prepared for when those times happen? Like, can you sustain, right? And so ABC Family caught wind of that, and they were like, yeah, let's pull this on and let's get this on television. So it actually aired. It's off now, but it aired last fall, and it's called Startup U, and you can still watch the episodes on Hulu, on ABC Family's platform, which is now Freeform, and it was just a really interesting experience.
Dope, very dope. Now, you know, becoming the technology editor for Black Enterprise, what has that transition, considering, as you mentioned before, you know, it was new to you. That space was very new to you, but now all of a sudden, you know, you're probably seeing any and all things, particularly as it relates to Black tech or the things that we might really even care about. What has that been like? You know, what has that opportunity felt like for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting because to me, like, coming out of Draper, we're a very, very diverse cohort. So our entrepreneurs come from all over the world. Like, we're talking Dubai, Haiti, Africa, like everywhere, right? So for me to be now focused very specifically on national, I would say, global at some extent, content that's all Black is super interesting because I get to actually see what we're doing in our own spaces. But in addition, I get to hear other founders' stories, other venture capitalist stories. So I'll be having a conversation with somebody specifically, and the one thing that I make sure that I get out of it is, how did you do it? Like, what was your process like? Like, what was your story like? Because I'm talking to, like, the creme de la creme, like, not the companies that, like, started and failed, right? It's like the companies that started and raised like $10 million, $7 million, people who have had exits from like Facebook, who've IPOs, who like very established entrepreneurs. So my goal with our content is just to make sure that those stories are told so people understand that there is a blueprint, that despite popular belief that diversity is an issue across the board, but we are seeing some very, very strong success stories coming out of our community. So I try to make sure that those stories are pushed to the forefront.
Wow, very dope. It's just interesting. I didn't want to focus on this, you know, coming in, but I know that, you know what I'm saying, you had You had fallen ill, and that presented a major turning point or a pivot for your life and what you decided to do. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I know a lot of people go through certain challenges, and everybody has these, sometimes have certain expectations that may or may not be in line with how things really go, because you mentioned earlier about some extreme peaks and valleys, and I'm sure that was a valley you overcame to do what you're doing now.
Yeah, it was really strange. So I actually was living in Atlanta. I had moved back to L.A., and I was only in L.A. for like 3 months, and I was still directing. And one day I just got sick, like a common cold. Like I have a slight cold now, so God willing, this won't ever happen again. But basically what happened was the virus infected my spinal cord, which made my entire body go numb, right? And so now it's called transverse myelitis, but at the time I didn't know what it was. So I went to the doctor and I went to the ER, and normally like there's like a crazy like wait, even, in Los Angeles at their emergency room. But when I got there, they were like, admit her immediately, because they knew something was wrong, right? And so they had all kind of neurologists come and do tests. I had to do MRIs. I had spinal taps. Like I was like a lab rat. Like they had no idea what was going on. So after all of these tests, after all of this, work being done, I'm internally like, well, hell, is this it? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the end? And if it is, like, am I happy that I spent my time creating pretty pictures? Like, I love directing. I love creating content, but I just thought in myself, like, I want to do more than that. So I was actually in the hospital bed, and I had a friend who had contacted me to do what was called Love Uncut at the time, which was our first app. It wasn't even an app. It was like a YouTube show or something together, which was talking about relationship advice. So I hit him, and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm actually in the hospital, but remember we had that conversation. Like, would you be interested in turning that into a business? And he was like, yeah, that sounds dope, but are you good? Like, are you okay? So after I got out of the hospital, eventually, like I said, it was diagnosed as transverse myelitis. We just hit the ground running, and we just started creating all of this content, which eventually became the platform. So, yeah.
Wow. Very dope, man. So what would you say to anybody looking to model themselves, so to speak, after what you've done and what you're doing?
I would say do the research. Like, make sure that you understand the extent of what it is that you're getting into. And then once you are okay with that, then just take the leap. Like, I literally took a leap of faith. I didn't know what Draper University was. I had no idea what entrepreneurship was on the bigger level. Like, I knew it was like, oh, I'm going to create a business. That's cute, right? Like, I didn't know, like, Delaware C Corps and, like, filing bylaws and all kind of, for California foreign qualification and all this other, stuff that you would learn if you went to Stanford and got your MBA, right? Like, that was stuff that I was super green on. So I would say, even if you feel like you lack the knowledge or the confidence, just you have to take that push and just take the leap. And whatever happens, happens. And at least you know that you went and you tried it.
That's dope. Very dope. We appreciate you, Sequoia, joining us on Check This Out News. If people want to follow you on social media or, keep up with what you're doing, how would they do that?
Yeah, I'm at Sequoia B on most things. If it's not Sequoia B, it's Sequoia Blodgett. So that's SEQUOIA BLODGETT. And also, I just want to plug really quickly that we have our tech conference coming up. Black Enterprise has Tech Connect coming up October 9th and 10th, and it's happening at the San Francisco Marriott in Burlingame. So for all you guys who are interested in tech, who are already in tech, who want more resources, information, and access, do come out and join us. It's going to be a really fun year this year. We have all kind of things like pitch competitions and career fairs and an amazing roster of speakers. Ray J, who has Raytronics currently, so everybody knows him as a reality star, but he's in the tech space now. Troy Carter, Deshaun Amira, Jason Maiden, who was the designer for Brand Jordan and started his company, Superheroic, and he just raised $7 million for that. So just incredibly inspirational people and stories, and you guys should definitely come and check that out.
Awesome, man. Well, there it is, man. Sequoia Blodgett, Check This Out News. Appreciate all the jewels that you dropped on us. We appreciate that for sure.